All right, welcome back to Mistake Masters. So today we are going to attempt to fix our cutting board. Somebody decided they were going to use a, not a meat cleaver, but I guess the masher, right? And they've completely destroyed this cutting board. So they want me to make it flat again. So we're going to use our halfway put together router sled to make this flat again. The first thing I'm going to do is screw this to the table. I don't know if I had a hole that I can see. There's plenty of holes in the top, so let's just pick a couple. All right, that should be enough. None of them broke off. And then we'll put this on here. CJ put some pressure on that. Okay, well I may have screwed through it, but I think it's enough to hold it down. Hopefully we can get to all the edges. Oh, you gotta move that. Okay.
Safety glasses?
Yep, oh we definitely need those. There's gonna be wood flying everywhere. All right, so we have I think this is a 3-inch, maybe a 2-inch Whopperdoodle, technical term. So we're just gonna set it on there to make our first pass. Where's the
pluggy
power
I
strip?
think it's right here.
Oh, that's on. Okay. I'm gonna make sure our cord's out of the way so they don't get chewed up. All right, this is gonna be really loud. Yeah, so let's do our first pass. Okay, this is gonna be real fun trying to smooth this out. Look how rough that is. Let's go down one more. A 1/16 of an inch. I don't know if that's enough or anything. I have a feeling we're doing this all wrong. I think this needs to be sucked down some more, CJ. We're only cutting this edge and see how high that's moving. So now when we finally get it straightened, that's gonna be the low spot. So somehow I didn't get it screwed in enough. And I'm really not liking how this is turning out. See how porous this is? It's just like chewing it up. So I don't know what you're supposed to do about that. Mistake Masters. We'll show you how to do it wrong and figure out how to fix it. Not liking this at all, because I think this is all end grain wood. And so it's like the wood sticking up like this. Now let's go down another notch. Yeah, it's just chewing it up. Might have been better off trying to use a sander. Okay, now we've gone down a lot. Okay, that got it flat. We still have a lot of these divots. I guess we need to go down one more notch to get those divots out. I hope you're not breathing this shit in. You're holding your breath. Don't forget dust protection. Okay, so it's pretty flat. Now we just have to sand it and then figure out how we're gonna fill all this. How are you supposed to fill that? Because it's basically taking chunks out of the wood, like picking it up. Okay, tomorrow we'll get the sander out. All right, so the 7's down. We're not gonna have super great audio, but I wanted to do a little bit of sanding on this to see how we fare. What I think is gonna happen, since we have all these, basically all these areas that the wood has just lifted up from, and I believe that's from using the router and just kind of, you know, it's scraping up and then just shrapnel coming up from it. So we're gonna sand it down a little bit, see how far we get, but I think the end result is gonna be with the epoxy. We're gonna epoxy this. Let's show what we can do with just 120 grit oval sander. And since this is end grain, you know, I'm not worried about sanding with the grain or, you know, using a block or a belt sander or anything like that. Okay, so this pad's way larger than. Are you supposed to line these holes up? All right, so what do we got here? Turn the speed down a little bit. Okay, ripping this hard. This is too much. I'm like barely on top of it. This is not gonna work. Hold on. That's better. I guess I just had to get it smoothed out a little bit. We need some sort of ventilation here. I'm dying. That'll give some cross flow in the shop. It already feels 100 times better. I'm not putting hardly any pressure on this at all. If I put pressure on it, it's just gonna stop. It's still hard to do. Dude, why is this thing smoking? Oh my God. I mean, but it smoothed this thing out like really well. I mean, I see we still have our rough spots, but I hope this thing, I didn't break this thing. Look at all that. All right, let's try a different sander. All right, so I don't have the sticky disc that goes with this. I was gonna try this one. So I got a piece of 180 and I got it on my block. We're gonna see how this works. Okay, this block sucks. This block really sucks. I gotta find a different block, folks. I almost feel like I need to sand it this way. Let me get that other block. All right, got another block. Blue, get off that car. You already scratched it enough. Get in. Blue, get your butt down. Right in. Down. Get down. Blue. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this block is way better because it's got some little horns in it, and it'll penetrate over your sanding block so it doesn't come off like the other one. All right, so we're back with 120. All right, so I feel ridges up and down this way, so I want to sand it this way. Of course, my thing's in the way. Let's move this. Still feeling a lot of edges. How smooth is it supposed to be, right? Almost want to try it with the belt sander and see what that does. Let's play around with that. Okay, this feels like 100 something, but I took it off just to check. It is 120, same as what we're using. Let's make sure it goes evenly. Okay, well that feels way better. Yeah, this makes quick work out of this. So orbital sander was a bust. Hand sander would have worked, but taken forever. The belt sander right here, this is the ticket. This is the ticket. Now we're really getting down in there. So I know we had a lot of grooves and stuff right here, and it's smoothing out quite a bit. So now do I keep going till I get all the way through? These seem pretty deep. That's the question. Or do I just epoxy this and let it go? I wonder what would happen if we just oiled it. Oh, I'm starting to get grooves in there with my sander. I need to be a little more careful. Yeah, so I'm guessing when I'm coming down, I'm hitting it on the edge, and I made some, you know, noticeable grooves. Something happened. It got stuck. It's broken. Okay. I wonder how long I was doing it and this not even spinning. Okay. Right, so I kind of messed it up right here with the belt sander. I can feel it on that edge. This edge seems fine. This seems fine. Everything else seems fine. I really want to blow some compressed air on it, which I don't have any. I gotta plug the compressor in. And I'm tempted to put some oil on it and see what happens. You know, what do you want for your final sanding? because I'm pretty sure it was pretty rough before we started. Yeah, see, all these pores still worry me. The reason why it's smooth right now is because we got all that sawdust in there. If we did epoxy, it would just seal everything up. I'm really curious to see if I can ruin this. What not to do. This could go either way. Yeah, you can see where it's rough. I think this actually pulls that dust out of there. Yeah, because now I'm left with holes. See if you can see that. So right here, you can see the holes versus right there, the sawdust is still in it. I don't know how well I can hold this camera and do this at the same time. If I press hard enough, I can get that sawdust right out of it. Now look. Okay. So now it's got oil on it. What happens if we sand it? I know we had some trouble spots right here from our belt sander I messed up, so let's try this area right here. All it does is gum that up. Gummy bear. Is smoothing it out, but I'm gumming it up at an accelerated rate. Probably should wait for this to dry or something. So, no matter what, it's gonna look like it's porous. Now, if I keep sanding, I can get down through all these holes and make it perfectly smooth. And then we just oil it and just like this. Or we leave the holes in there, which will give it a little bit of texture, and we epoxy over it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but I can see it really good. Holes. Holes filled with sawdust. Right? So what do you want? Alright, so I'm gonna let this dry. I mean, it's oil, I don't know how dry it's actually gonna get. And make a decision tonight whether we're gonna just sand this off and do it or epoxy it. The thing about the oil, see all these different, parts of the wood. It kind of shines differently, depending on where you look. Of course, it's kind of wet now. We'll see how it does overnight and see what happens. So this is the next day. Our oil is pretty dry, as you can see. Now, I will note, danger, harmful, or fatal if swallowed. So this is not the oil to put on your cutting board. After I route this edge and kind of finish it up, I'll find some oil. Let me show you what I did. And I've never done it this way before. I have these roundover bits. Wow, this one's really bearing toast. And the way it's supposed to work is you put this flat up against, your surface and run the router over it. Now this is elevated, so this doesn't touch this at all. But since we're on a CNC and it's supposed to be, everything's already supposed to be level, it should work out. So I've raised it up to where this edge is not touching, just to test it out. Safety glasses. Loud noises commence. Okay, well, it almost worked. This, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if this thing like warped itself from sitting here, but now just in this corner right here, I've got this giant edge and I got chip out right here. Oh, and that's where it split. Great. Yeah, so everything else worked good except for this whole section. So now I'm thinking I need to, well, we either have to sand it down or, yeah, this whole edge is raised up. And of course this is clogged from all the oil, just when you think you're about done. Okay, so this is a really good block, but it's hard to get the sandy dews out. Let's get another one. Hopefully that's enough to reach the other one. If it's not, you dummy, it's not. Oh, it's just barely enough. The mosquitoes are alive and eating me. Oh, this is gonna take a bit. Remember, this channel is called Mistake Masters. I do it wrong and then attempt to fix it. Dude, that oil really screwed me up here. Really got me. I'm really thinking I need to go over it with this guy. I'm just not 100% sure I want to do that. The belt sander would work, but it's out of commission since I don't have any spare belts. Guess I need to order those. What did you do to me? It had to somehow went up while it was sitting here. Okay. Let's do it. Hopefully I don't regret this. Okay, here we go. You gotta plug it in, dummy. Just as good as the CNC, right? Okay, now we can sand that down. That should be relatively easy. McNumb Central. Shouldn't put that oil on until you were done. But you had to play around. Now I'm going too far. Because I kind of want to get these burn marks off. I don't know if that's going to happen. Can we use this at all? So the routing turned out all right. So it's flat. Let's blow this off somehow. Okay, the one thing that we can't really fix is this chip out. Well, I guess we could fix it if we took that sawdust, mix it up in some glue, and then build it. Of course, we'd have to get all this stuff out, but we're not going to do that because this is not a $300 cutting board we're trying to sell. It's an $8 cutting board from the thrift store. I would kind of like to get rid of these burn marks without ruining our routed edge by going too deep. Okay, I'm gonna call this good. The only step that we're missing here, food grade oil. And it's because I don't have the right oil. So now we'll just use it as a, you know, put your hot pot on there. I guess I could pull this off and show you. Okay, chopping board, crate and barrel. Yeah, there's no way this thing's expensive. Oh, there's little feet on here. Somebody had screwed some feet in, those are gone. Anyway, there we go. Okay, I didn't want to take it in there without having some type of oil on there to make it look a little better. So I know this is the wrong oil, but I wanted to look somewhat uniform. All right, so what did we learn? We learned that this is a great tool for planing, but you need to leave you some room for all this chip out that you have to deal with. To deal with the chip out, you need the belt sander. Be careful with the belt sander and not score your edges, because then you'll be going over it with this guy, and this guy takes forever. So, little recap summary there. Oh, and be careful with your burn marks. I think that was from holding it in place too long. So this needs to be, you know, kind of go. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the comments.